Hello everyone, welcome to SJ Talks. This is your host Adya, and today's guest is someone who has almost 17 years of experience in the crossroad of business, technology and innovation. The most interesting aspect of his journey is how he and his roles have evolved with changing times, making him extremely adaptable. Initially, he started off in extremely technical roles, but later then shifted towards working towards strategy, innovation and overall business transformation. Over the years, he has worked across business, consulting, automation, as well as product development and management, also mentoring his teams and driving them towards adapting towards organizational changes. His last role was the director at UBS, and currently he is working towards pursuing the dream of starting something on his own. So his story is about leadership, development, and constantly adapting to upcoming changes that life throws us at. Let's welcome Mr. Amritap Datta. So thank you, sir, for being a part of this journey and coming all the way for almost 2 hours.
It's okay. Whenever SJ Talk invited me over here, it was a kind of a good opportunity for me. And I thought that let's give it a try. This is my first podcast and I hope that it holds good for SJ Talks itself.
Yeah.
So thank you again for having me here.
Thank you so much. So, as I told, your role is a lot about reinventing yourself, and you've reinvented yourself through multiple aspects. So when in your career path did you understand that, you can't always stay stuck in the same zone and I have to keep growing and, developing myself so that I stay relevant and so that I do more than I'm capable of?
So, see, these things started from the start of my journey. I was fortunate enough to have lovely managers, great mentors, and I have been a pain to them because normally I used to get bored after 1 year or 1.5 years when I tend to realize that I have learned all the things on a particular role or particular technology. Then I kept on asking for newer initiatives or making me a part of newer journeys, allowing me the space to grow or giving me the scope and opportunity to learn more and give me more broader horizon specific roles. Fortunately, all the mentors, all the managers of mine have given me that space to grow. And for that, you can see that over the course of 17, 18 years, I have constantly shifted from one space to another. A deep down principle behind it was that change is always constant and nothing is permanent. So, and especially for the current age, the expertise which you have, that expertise comes with an expiry date. And a long time back, one of my mentors told me a beautiful line that if the world is changing faster than your skills, then you need to deepen. And if your skills are changing faster than your role, then you need to evolve. So basically, that made me keep on growing, and also the help and the visibility and the opportunities which obviously my leaders gave me, that also added to that in this journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, Mr. Amritap, as you said, that change is really necessary and really important. But sometimes changing from one familiar field to another unfamiliar field sometimes takes a lot of mental toll on you, right? So how did you feel when, you kept changing from one field of work to another? Was it different?
So, change without a purpose becomes very difficult for you to adjust to. But if you think that you want this change in your life for a certain achievement, or you want to achieve something, you want to land up somewhere, then actually it becomes easier because that motivation works to make a better person out of yourself. So yes, absolutely, whenever you change a field, you go to a different domain altogether, or you might be going to a different technology scope, or even you are changing from being a developer to a strategist. The changes have not been easier, and it is never easy for anybody who goes through these kind of transformations in their own personal sphere. But still, there needs to be some motivation behind it, and that's why you need to find out the purpose for yourself, that why you want this change in your life. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another very fascinating thing I found about your profile was, you took an IIM program in Calcutta, right? Even after having a very successful career. So what motivated you, to take that program, and what, gave you the drive to continuously learn?
That has been perhaps the best decision in last 7-8 years of my life. So I had to join a job basically to earn a livelihood after the bachelor's. God has been kind, people around me has been kind to me, my leaders has been kind to me, that I still got those opportunity to rise higher and higher. So I always missed out on that postgraduate part of it. Though the experiences, whatever I have gained, I have learned a lot from the mentors, I've learned a lot from the leaders, but still sometimes it felt that, like all the other things in life, it is required to go back to the board again. And that opportunity came to me in the form of this IIM course. So whenever I got this call, it was just a kind of a easy decision for me to apply for this course. Obviously, IIM Calcutta, it's one of the top-notch institutes of India, where you get the global margin teachers, you get an education system which not a lot of universities can give. Apart from that, it is also about the brilliant minds you are surrounded with. So the teachers were brilliant, obviously, world-class teaching facilities, but the peer group, the people who are attending the course with you, they also helped me to become a better version of myself. Ideating with them, brainstorming with them, going into debate sessions with them, working on projects with them. It was a wonderful experience for me, and somewhere, again, as I said, it felt like that it has been the best decision. So maybe I was having a lot of technological skill sets with me, managerial skill sets with me, but IIM and being surrounded by these brilliant brains, brilliant minds around me, gave me the perspective that how the world is shaping up and what are the different things anybody can do, even out of the scope of your domain, scope of your field. What are the other things which is happening in the world? So that completely evolved me and helped me to evolve myself into a completely newer and a better version. You can say it as Amritap Datta 2.0. So that's what happened. So that's how IIM Calcutta's this senior management program has helped me to shape myself up. Yes.
Okay, so it clearly seems like, you were a different person before getting into it and completely transformed.
Yeah, absolutely.
After.
Absolutely.
So what are certain core values or, lessons that you learned from there that you carry into your work right now?
The best thing which I get to see from my peers is the kind of visions they have. How to face a tough situation, how to put strategy into perspective, how to combine a data-driven approach towards a leadership vision outcomes, and how you can make an organization take to a different level altogether. The role of data in it, the role of empathy in it, the role of vision in it, role of superb strategic execution in it, and also delivery excellence. It is not that I was not aware of these things before attending this course, but having the peers, sitting in the same classroom with those brilliant minds, took these kind of things to a different level altogether, which is obviously at a higher one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like your career has grown so much, right? So initially, when, let's say, you were just a kid, did you think you would like reach this place, or did you have like a completely different plan altogether? Because like, when you're kids, you say like, I wanted to become a doctor when I was a child till I was in 10th, but right now I'm doing psychology. So what did you initially want to do?
So it's a very good question, and the thing is that when I was a child, I was not good in studies. I never wanted to study. So it was all games, playing around, talking to people, learning something here and there. So in my childhood, that vision was never clear that what I want to become. Yes, at one point of time, it was that I wanted to be a part of the defense forces, but unfortunately, it couldn't happen because of some reason or the other.
Okay.
But later on, bachelor's was something which was coming up, and the subject which I chose in my BTech was biotechnology. So I went to biotechnology because I really wanted to do something in the computational biology field, which is still one of my dream projects. If I get a chance someday, I will really work on it. So I attended biotechnology in India, and for some reason or the other, when I was attending the course, it was a requirement because of some kind of constraints that I need to earn money just after my BTech. I was not having that leverage or that space to also go forward with the postgraduate and other higher studies. So, and at that point of time, I'm talking about the year of 2008, it was very difficult to get a job just out of a bachelor's degree in the field of biotechnology in India. So in parallel, as because my preference was computational biotechnology, I was also learning the computer science subjects, IT subjects. I have also taught a lot of people in my college who were from the CS background because I was already into it, and thankfully I had an edge in those algorithms, data structures, and other computer science related subjects. So that kept one of the pathways open for me, that I can also apply for the IT organizations, because in 2008, majority of the hiring which was happening in India was in those organizations. Infosys was my dream company. So in the third year, I cracked the interview, I got placed and started the job 2008. And from then onwards, it was a brilliant journey. So getting that opportunity to start my life with Infosys, and especially the training program which Infosys had in 2008, they also have it. But at that point, it was 6 months of rigorous training process and understanding every languages, every subject, whichever comes your way. So, and from there onwards, it was only IT organization.
Okay.
But yes, one more thing has shaped up in last 18 years whenever I started this journey, that someday or the other I will start something of my own.
Yeah.
Whenever the time permits, whenever all the other things get into place. So that's how it happened.
Okay. So that's why you stepped from your director position to wanting to start something on your own. How did you realize it was time?
How do I realize it's time? So in one way, it has always been the time, and in the other way, the time is still not here. So that dream, or if you can say that passion of mine has been burning deep inside me for a long time now. And it has been there from my Infosys days itself. And all the friends around me, all the mentors around me, they knew about it. For financial constraints, it is not an easy part for a person to someday take that decision that, okay, I can now step out and I can now start something of my own, because having a salary every month is a very addictive piece, and that's the major problem. And it takes a lot of courage, because I have been speaking to a lot of people who have turned or who have started something of their own in last 2 or 3 years. They are very new, and I got a chance to talk to them a lot, and similar experiences they also went through. They thought about starting something way back, but it was always getting delayed, and then someday the time came that no, if I cannot start it today, then it might be too late for me to start. So that floodgate needed to be opened at some point. For me, it was this year. But the planning and the preparations have started already from last year onwards.
Okay. Okay, and many people, when they're stuck in a zone where everything is certain and their life is like certain, and when you go into an uncertain zone, like starting something on your own, was there ever a point where you questioned your decision and thinking if this is the right choice?
The question is even coming to my mind right now.
Okay.
Also, the questions will originate and it will keep on coming back. So I'm not sure how it is for other people who are trying to start something of their own, but I am only sharing my experience now. That question never stops coming.
Okay.
Until and unless you see an absolute certain outcome. That I believe that question will never stop coming into my mind. Every step, when I decided that I will be leaving the organization, I spoke to my ex-bosses as well before taking the decision, and had lengthy conversations with my ex-bosses. I called up my boss from my previous organizations as well. I spoke to 3 to 5 mentors who I have, and I'm lucky to have all of them together. Called up each and every one of them to discuss that this is the plan which I'm having. These are the pros, these are the cons. I am having a definitive idea about this phase, but this seems to be somewhat still in the black box kind of a thing. One thing which majority of them told me is that don't worry about this. We can see that you have thought about it. You have some clarity. And we expect that the rest of the clarity will only happen when you start the journey. Because, so I somewhere I was thinking that I will have to wait till I get answers to all the possible questions. But what I got to understand is that you are never going to get all the answers till the point of time you actually make the start, because some questions which you might not have thought also, that might also come when you start the journey. So it's important to start the journey, but yes, there are certain things which can be taken care of, like I am very bad at that, but financial planning, having backups, or even if in a day everything goes wrong, what will be the ultimate failover plan? So those things were prepared, but ultimately I feel that when the journey is already ongoing, what happens on the road is something needs to be taken care at that particular point of time. So that's how, yes, there is uncertainty, and I'm pretty much sure I cannot plug all the gaps and make it a proper 100% certain way. But I have hit the road, and I know how to drive the car. I have already filled up the gasoline till the fullest of the tank. Now on the road, if I face any challenge, then I will have to find out a way how to solve that problem on the road itself.
But I think you will overcome all of it because you sound so passionate about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also hope so, and thank you for your kind words.
Thank you. No issues.
Yep.
Yeah, and by the way you describe it, mentors are really important to guide you in a certain way, and they give you lots of knowledge about things that are not known also. So has there been any time where you were mentoring people? Because you mentor people, right?
Yes.
So has there been any time where you were mentoring people, but you learned something instead, like a reverse mentorship?
So while mentoring people, one way of saying it is that I learned a lot of new technologies from them, because I have been mentoring all the newcomers. So when I was in Genpact, I was seeing people who were just passing out of the colleges. They were having better technological mindset, even in UBS and even in Infosys also. So as the age progresses, as the time progresses, you will be meeting the people or the fresh out of college people who are going to have much more basic knowledge than what we used to have in our times, because they are very much eloquent and they are very much working with the computers subjects. So they come up with a lot of fresh ideas, fresh skill sets, from where I got a lot of boost to learn something new as well. Other thing is, the more and more generations are coming up, I am seeing a lot of fearless people around. They are ready to question anything. If they don't find a meaning to anything, they will question it, no matter. Yes, they respect the leadership, but they still feel it is important for their questions to be answered.
Yeah.
If they don't find a purpose, they are purpose driven. They are by default purpose driven, which took people, or all the people whom I know from my generation, it took us a lot of experiences to be built to find out that ultimately you need to be purpose driven. But they're coming with that mindset. So these kind of things I completely enjoyed to get a knowledge from them. I still keep on talking to a lot of people. I still talk to people who are in college, who are just out of college, understanding what they are doing. And it also helps me to keep an edge over the latest technologies, the latest processes, the latest platforms which are coming up. Otherwise, I would have been hitting the YouTube platform. But if I sit with a kid right now, that kid gives me a lot more information about the current world within 5 minutes, which I would have taken might be 1 hour from the internet to search out and understand it. So that's how, and learning never stops. It doesn't mean that I will only learn from somebody who is senior to me. I have learned more from my juniors or the people whom I've worked with. Yeah.
And when you're working in such a field, criticism is really common, right? And but sometimes it takes a lot to deal with criticism if it's on a continuous aspect. So was it always easy for you to deal with criticism, or is it something that built up with time?
Not always. I'm being blunt honest, and obviously different leaders and different people have different versions of this particular question. But for me, no. Criticism and accepting criticism in a positive way has taken time for me to understand it. But when I understood it, it helped in my journey. Now, there are two sides of it as well. If, suppose today, after this show, you give me some constructive criticism, say, how I can improve my posture, how I can improve my tonal quality, that will be a criticism which I will be accepting with open arms, because you are trying to point out something in a constructive way so that I can build on it and I can become better. But not always also people give constructive criticism. So there is other side of criticism also. So I believe that in the society, people also need to understand that what is the power of constructive criticism and how it can shape the other person's life. So it's a mix and match. I also learned from it, and others also should understand the power of constructive criticism. Yeah.
Okay. And you've also driven a lot of transformations in organizations, right? So what do you think makes a transformation successful? And what, sometimes they also fail, right? What do you think is the major difference between those two outcomes?
So any transformation, so any project, wherever anyone goes, and in my experiences, whatever transformation programs I have handled, there are 4 layers to it, according to me. One is the technology, the process, the leadership, and the culture. So why I'm saying these 4 is that these 4 are the basic pillar of a transformation program. The process, which is being followed, or how you are going to apply this transformation in place, you will have to think about whether this process is sustainable and whether this process has this capacity to be re-engineered. Second thing is the technology. Whether the technology is scalable or not. If not, then I will have to implement a scalable technology, no matter what platform, what things you use. Third is the leadership. How much leadership is aligned to this? How much effort leadership is going to put to make others be aware of what is the transformation. So I'm not talking about only the technological transformation. There has always been a agile transformation, so any kind of transformation program. So leadership needs to be aligned, and leadership needs to show the way, and leadership needs to communicate it very clearly with all the team. All hands should know that what we are going to achieve, how we are going to achieve it, why we are doing it. And fourth one, which is a kind of a very crucial one, is the culture. The culture of an organization or the culture of a team actually drives, in my standards or in my vision, culture is the most important thing which will drive a program towards its success or a failure. Not always culture is visible, because I still can have a metrics for the other three pillars. Understanding whether the culture is right or wrong, we do not have data-driven methods. It is only a qualitative model which can be placed to understand how the culture is. So how the team behaves, how the managers are maintaining the team, whether the team is capable of handling this kind of a change or not, what are the skill sets they are having. So that kind of a culture, the inclusivity is very crucial. So, and based on these four, whatever programs, even in all across the world it is happening, you will see that the success and the failure depends on all these four pillars. Maybe one of them, but it will revolve around all these four pillars. Yeah.
So, as I said, organizations also sometimes focus on solving several problems, right? But what do you think are those certain invisible problems that there's not much light shed upon them, or they're overseen?
So I will keep on continuing from that, the fourth pillar. So culture is something, if something goes wrong, you are not being able to judge it instantly. So that's why a lot of brilliant organizations spends a lot of effort in building up a proper culture across the organization. There are a lot of HR leaders around from whom I have learned so much about how you build up a culture within an organization. Apart from that, few other things which are invisible, and in my experience I have seen those causing a problem and those really becoming a bad side of the organization working, is first of all the visibility. A resource being visible towards the leadership. His or her work being visible to the leadership. How much impact that resource is having for a project, for a program, for the organization, that needs to be done. Second, and this is basically, I'm pretty much sure nowadays it is a talk of the town and a lot of organizations are already working on it. I call it as a psychological safety and a mental burnout. So we are seeing with the mounting pressure of delivering stuffs and the timelines being shortened, or in another example, in a team of 10, majority of the work is handed over to 3 members. That adds up to a undefined workload and a burnout of that particular person. And also there is constantly, with this ever-changing world in terms of technology or AI adoption and other stuffs, in my personal lookout and the people I have been talking to, I am seeing that there is also a point coming up, which is the psychological safety. These are somewhat, these things cannot come in a dashboard. You cannot see this in a dashboard. It is impossible to have these things on a dashboard, but still these problems lie there somewhere. And maybe I am seeing few of the organizations are already picking on these things. They are actively working towards solving these problems. I hope that soon all the other organizations will also start working on it. Yep.
I think I really agree with the concept that psychological safety is really important in any organization, workplace, institution, schools, anywhere. And, was there any time where you felt extreme mental burnout? in your professional life? Can we just get one situation?
There have been. I cannot exactly go into the details of it, but it was also revolving around the same point that in a team of 10, ultimately, because there were two skilled resources, those majority of the work was given to these two people.
Okay.
And obviously, one was me, another one was my great project mate. And that was not stopping. It was not for a certain period. We were seeing that months after months, extra efforts, extra hours were going from our side of the story, and that kept on happening. But fortunately, when for me it was a fortunate affair. I don't know how others are getting treated when they complain about it, but for me, when I reported this concern, a shuffle happened.
Okay.
And things were taken care of,
That's
but that had to be taken to one skip level once. But I'm also aware that this is not the case for a lot of people who are facing a mental burnout, but I believe this is how things should be tackled.
Yeah. So, looking at your journey, we can see that you came from starting from biotechnology to, now you starting your own thing. So it's been a really huge journey, right? So how has your idea of success and leadership changed through it all?
Wonderful question. So for me, a leader is someone who is not only the boss of the team, but also makes way for others to learn and grow. And this particular concept has been there from my very early days, because again, I might be one of those very few fortunate people that all throughout my journey of 18 years now, 90 to 95% of the leaders whom I have worked with, they have all given me the space to grow. They have all given me the opportunity to learn. They have allowed me to commit mistakes. They have even given me the time frame to rectify and work on the mistake so that I can rectify it and prepare a fresh one. And when things were delivered, they also gave me the true or the required acknowledgement and recognition, and also the visibility whenever something was delivered. So from the very early times, I have been around the leaders, and whom I call the leaders, who were doing this thing to me. So now when I am going to a pathway where hopefully I will be starting something of my own, and I will be creating something, and I will also get a chance to employ people, I will carry those same principles, what I have learned from them, on all those things. So give opportunity, make pathway for them. If there are some roadblocks, clear that off. If they fail, allow them to fail, so that they will learn from that failure, they will rectify it. And ultimately, when they deliver something, give them that proper recognition which they deserve. So I believe that's the basic difference between the leader and the boss. Sometimes the people who we call as a boss may not be giving you this kind of opportunities, but a leader does. A leader creates another leader. A boss maintains his authority over the team. But if you are really a leader, your focus will be how the organization grows and how you are giving back the organization other leaders as well. Yeah.
So success and failures are like both on the flip side, right? Because I believe both of them are extremely correlated. Because you can't, if you don't fail at something, you don't learn. And if you don't learn, you don't succeed. That's how I look at things. So was there anything that failure taught you that you think success could never teach you?
I have learned more from failures in my life.
Can you share one such story?
I will. So in my entire life, I have failed more than I have achieved successes. So if my success achievement is 10%, my failure is 90%. And that is how I have grown. One example, there are a lot of examples, but I will try to make it a little bit of funny story. Not a funny or a very, very involving story as well. So, and then I will also connect it back to the kind of the leaders and the chances of allowing me to fail and all the other stuffs. I will connect it back. So this happened at very early times when I started the journey in Infi, and I was working for a team. The team was convinced that I am a great coder. I was working fantastic, and it reached to a certain level that even I was directly merging the codes towards the test environments and the production environments. Okay. Because I was good at that, and the team was also having a trust on me on that. So what happened on one day, I patched in one of the codes into the production layer, means after all the approvals and everything. And in the evening, I got a call from US that somehow in the expenses segment, approximately 3.5 million expenses have got into a hung state, or it has gone into a suspense account. I started doing a check, what has happened, okay. Found that the code which I patched that morning has actually converted the dates of all those expenses towards a date parameter way back in the 1900. So that caused a lot of problem. It was a major escalation, and it happened. So we got a chance of only 1 hour or 2 hours to sort it out and solve it. I was really at the, what will I say, a very, very bad state of mind, because it would have been a very bad thing. What happened was, I got a call from my then manager, said, okay, this has happened. Okay, no problem. I am just now informing your tech lead and the functional lead. They will just be by your side and try to find out what has gone wrong and give me the best possible solution which can be done. My tech lead came, my functional lead came. They sat with me in office till 3 a.m. in the morning. We all together. We focused on how to sort it out. First of all, how to reverse back the dates. And then whatever code patch was needed to be done, that went into the production next day, early morning. So that day really showed me a pathway that even if you fail, that doesn't mean that's the end of the world. You will have to get up. You will have to rectify it. And you are the one who is going to change it. And then, okay, you can go back.
Yeah.
And my leaders, so my tech lead, my functional lead, and my manager, all three were protecting me till that point of time, till the issue was resolved. Okay. There were a lot of calls coming in from the clients, calls inbound, but all were taken care of by these three members, with these three people, while I was being asked to sort out the problem. Unfortunately, nowadays, I really hear much less of these stories nowadays, but this is how my perception of a particular team and an organization is.
Yeah. So, I think from your story, we can see that you have grown past it, but you also had people to guide you through.
Absolutely.
And
that is
protect you
very
through
important.
it. And I think that's very important. So, what is one such advice that your mentors gave you that you carry like throughout? Like one very impactful advice that you would want to share to our audience?
You will fail, rise up and rectify it and move on.
Okay.
That's it.
And
don't fear the failures. Don't fear the failures.
Okay. And just as a very light-hearted question, just before we end the podcast, what is something that you enjoy doing beside working, like any hobbies or any interests?
I watch a lot of football.
Okay.
I also watch a lot of cricket.
Okay.
So, though I'm not a very good player, but I still keep a watch on nearly all the leagues in the world. I also watch nearly all the leagues being played for cricket also. These two things, and I am also a music lover.
Okay.
I come from a state, or I come from the cultural background where you are being raised with music in your ears and other stuffs. So I love music. I love to play guitar. I play cajon as well.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I am very shy to play all those things in front of people. So in my alone space, I do it, keep on doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
And music also keeps me to, or helps me to keep focused, be focused, and also sometimes on a bad day, it also helps me to drive myself through.
okay. I think having hobbies is very important,
Yeah.
because it just keeps you out of whatever you
Yeah.
have in your mind.
Yeah.
And even I really like music, so that's something I really connect with
Great.
as well.
Okay.
So, as a final question, if you had a younger version of yourself standing right in front of you, what would you tell him?
Don't wait. Start on your own much
Okay.
earlier.
Okay.
Don't wait.
Okay.
Start early. Have the courage to fail, and obviously make friends, be surrounded with good people who will be there to guide you, to stand with you whenever the need comes. So having those people around you is very important. So your circle, so a long time back I heard from somewhere that your circle defines you. Not entirely, but still it is very important
Yeah.
to have good people around you who knows what you are, who has also seen failures so that they can guide you when you are going to fail, who knows how to handle failure so that when you drop or when you fall down, their words, their guidances can pick you up. And also these good people will be having a chill time with you when you are going for a good trip also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
yeah.
Mr. Amritap.
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
I really, really enjoyed the conversations and your stories and your perspectives.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to me, and our audience also must have found it really interesting.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing your time and giving me your insights and mentoring us for today.
Thank
it was-
again. It's my pleasure to be here today, and thank you, SJ Talks, for giving me this opportunity to be here. And it was nice talking to you with you. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you everyone. That's it for Mr. Amritap's podcast today. And for more such podcasts, please like, share, and subscribe to SJ Talks. This is your host Adya signing off. We are saying this during this podcast because it truly makes a difference. So many of you people have been watching SJ Talks, which we are very, very grateful for, but so many of you haven't subscribed yet. And in this episode or in any of our previous episodes, if any piece of content connected to you, made you think differently, offered you a different perspective, or maybe, even just kept you entertained, please do support us, because behind every piece of content that we create, every piece of information that we put out, or every story of people we share, there's a huge team of hardworking people with extreme passion, dedication, working towards giving you or providing you with this goal. So we would really appreciate if you could like, share, and subscribe to our channel so we can put out more such content. And for all those people who have been part of this journey with us already, thank you so much. And for those people who are going to come in right now, welcome to SJ Talks family.